Evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Tonight is the June 24, 2021 Town Board meeting. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before my supervisor's announcements, we have a guest with us from Dutchess County. Dutchess County is planning our transportation future. And we have tonight Mark DeBald. He is the Transportation Program Administrator for Dutchess County Transportation Council. Mark, how are you?
Great, excellent.
He's going to give us a little presentation on Dutchess moving forward.
Great, thank you. I would like first to thank the Town Board and Supervisor D'Alessandro for inviting me to talk briefly, and we'll try to keep this at about 10 to 15 minutes, to talk briefly about moving Dutchess forward, which is our draft long-range transportation plan for Dutchess County. So I've got a quick presentation here. It's only 20 slides, so hopefully it won't bore folks too much. So I just want to set it up, quickly talk about this long-range plan that we're working on, but first talk about the DCTC. We're full of wonderful acronyms in our business, but the Dutchess County Transportation Council is the designated metropolitan planning organization for Dutchess County, so we're an MPO as a shorthand. We are required by federal law to represent urbanized areas of 50,000 people or more and to ensure that federal funds are distributed and programmed based on a local planning process. So we were established in 1982. The authorization for this comes from the early 70s. We've been working on long-range and short-range transportation planning for over 40 years now, or close to 40 years. And again, our main mission is to program federal highway and federal transit dollars through a locally driven planning process. And just as a side, there are 400 MPOs in the United States, 14 in New York State, and we all have to follow federal guidelines because we are federally mandated. So one of those guidelines is to produce a long-range transportation plan for your metropolitan area. And so we are working diligently on that, and that's called Moving Dutchess Forward. This is our latest iteration of a long-range plan. It's actually our 7th long-range plan in our history, and it's typically a 20 or 25-year look into the future about what the local priorities are for the community. For this go-around, we are using a 2045 planning horizon. So it's tough to wrap your arms around such a long period of time, but we do the best we can. For this planning product, we go digital. So it's a digital forward planning product. It's unlike our other previous plans, which were much more static and PDF-based. So our website, movingdutchessforward.com, you could probably Google that, and I do encourage folks to take a look at that. You'll notice that all our entire plan content is designed in a digital format. And that includes a map viewer. So we have an interactive mapping platform that allows folks to drill down on specific data, such as high crash locations, traffic congestion, bus service, jobs, housing, demographic data. There's a lot of data out there, and we try to display it in a way that's manageable by the public and understandable by the public. And another note about this plan is that we built it around 4 goals, and those form the building blocks for this plan. And I'll talk about each of those goals in just a second. But before we do, just to circle back on what our vision is for Dutchess County. So we established this vision statement. Unfortunately, the camera view is obscuring this, but I'll read it off. By 2045, Dutchess County's transportation system will be safer, more reliable, resilient, and equitable. So that's our goal, or overarching desire for Dutchess County through this 2045 planning period. And this vision statement speaks to those 4 goals, which I'm going to talk about right now. So the first goal, to prepare a transportation system to adapt or anticipate changes in the future. And so we've used this as our first building block for the plan. This was the first product that we unveiled when we opened the plan website back in November. And this is where we learn about trends. So there's lots of factors that influence our transportation system, whether it's population change, changing in our housing dynamics, jobs, the economy, climate change, transportation technology like electric vehicles or autonomous vehicles, lots of stuff happening. And in our Goal 1 Learn section of this plan is where we try to capture what the trends are through 2045 and what's the population going to look like in Dutchess County? How does it look at the local level? I think one caveat to that is COVID, and we're not too sure what the long-lasting impacts are of the pandemic on especially housing. I think we can all attest to the growth in the housing demand, and we're going to see how this plays out, and also in travel behavior and teleworking. How is that going to impact our commuting patterns in the future? So there's a couple unknowns. We try to capture that in this section, but this is where folks can learn about some of the trends that we identified for Dutchess County and the towns, villages, and cities. So our second building block speaks to our assessment of conditions on the transportation system, specifically on safety, reliability, and barriers to basic needs. So those are kind of the three linchpins of this long-range plan. So if you go into our Goal 2 section, where we want to meet this goal of providing safe and convenient access for all people, regardless of their form of travel, regardless of their situation, this is where this section speaks to that, and it speaks to where our high crash locations are, whether it's driving, walking, biking. We take a look at reliability data such as traffic congestion, bus and train access, walking and bicycling access on our rail trails and sidewalks, the whole gamut of what transportation is in Dutchess County. And we also take a look at barriers to equity. So we do identify population groups that are sensitive to our decision-making and programming. And so we do have a mapping, a map that shows high equity index areas that we have to be cognizant of as transportation planners moving in the future. So our third building block, let's see this bring, is our advocate section. So this is where we talk about best practices and policies, and it speaks to this goal of promoting smart transportation and land use policies and practices to remove those barriers to access, promote sustainable development, and improving our overall quality of life. And so we approach this from three angles. One, what are actions we can do as the DCTC, as the MPO that implements federal transportation planning the programs at the local level? What can the county do? What can County Public Works, County Public Transit, Dutchess County itself, what can they do to promote access and expand access and remove barriers? Then thirdly, what are the local actions? And we do the local actions in a question and answer format. We're cognizant of not trying to be too prescriptive at the local level because land use decisions do occur at the local level for the most part. But having that power, planning boards and zoning boards have a lot of say in what land use decisions are made and how they may impact the transportation system. So that's that connection between land use decisions and what happens on the transportation system is kind of critical to what we do as planners. And then lastly, our fourth building block looks at our investment strategy. So this is our recommendations package or financial plan of the idea of how much funding is available in Dutchess County from the federal side, but also from the state, county, and local level to make those improvements, to remove barriers and expand access. And so our goal here is to make transformative investments in our regional transportation system while maintaining that fiscal constraint and leveraging private investment where we can. So in this section, we take a look, again, how much funding is available, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. How much is needed to maintain a state of good repair, and I think we can all attest also that a lot of money is needed to maintain a true state of good repair, and I'm not too sure if we'll ever reach a true state of good repair, but we do make a swag at what a basic state of good repair might look like, and then we talk about our recommendations. So quick look at our investment puzzle here. When we talk about funding, we kind of look at three streams, both the highway side, the transit side, and then the planning side, just to make it more approachable to the public and folks reading this plan. We look at three time periods: a short-term time period from 2022 to 2025, a long-term, which takes us from 25 to 45, and then we do a big summary for the entire planning period of 22 to 45. So this pie chart's a little obscure, but our assessment of how much funding is available, about 70% is available for highway, road, bridge, sidewalk, trail improvements. About 29% is available for transit improvements. That includes MTA Metro North improvements, not just county bus. And then also 1% for planning. So a very small sliver is available for planning. So just a snapshot of just to get folks a perspective of how much we're talking about here, and something to keep in mind, that total is a big number. It's $1.1 billion. These numbers are in millions. And that's the number you come out to when you look out 25 years on what the needs are across our system. Of course, this is across state highways, county highways, and town, village, and city highways, with a focus on federal aid eligible roads. And that's a big caveat to what we do. Since we deal a lot with federal funding, we have to focus on what the federal government says is eligible to receive that funding. So not all local roads or town roads can receive federal funds. In fact, very few town roads do. Even at the county level, about a third of county highways can actually receive federal funding, but most of the all state highways basically can receive federal funding. There are exceptions like the Carroll Drive Bridge Project. That's a special program called the Off-System Bridge Program, but there are ways to use federal funds for a local project. You can see the split here, again, kind of heavy on the highway and bridges, not surprising. A pretty good portion on the transit system, especially for our bus capital and operating needs as they potentially shift over to EV or electric vehicles, and then some rail trail maintenance operations. Again, big takeaway, about $1.1 billion across the system for about 25 years, a big number. We do have to do fiscal constraint by federal regulations. So this chart just shows the numbers, how they play out across those three streams: highway, transit, and planning. So you can see the available funding amount there, about $1.4 billion. Again, it's across the entire system. Then we show our numbers for what we call transformative projects and packages, which are our recommendations, which I'll talk about in just a bit, and then our balance. So you can see there is a shortfall, and we're trying to be honest about our assessment of the future, recognizing that it takes a lot of money to maintain a state of good repair, but we don't want that to hold us back from being bold and transformative, and recognizing that there are some improvements or access improvements or safety improvements that we can make in the future. And so we do recognize that, and you'll see what we're talking about in a second here. So our recommendations, basically we looked at our investments from two perspectives, one from a transformative packages angle and transformative projects. And I would note that our map viewer does have, this is a screenshot on the right here of our map viewer. That has a little more information, so folks, I do encourage folks to take a look at that map viewer. You can drill down into some of these projects, get some basic information about what we're talking about, and hopefully it relates to the other information that we're presenting and resonates with the public. So transformative packages, we have 10 basic packages that we've identified for this long-range plan. I won't read them all, but these are meant to capture basically our state of good repair needs across the system. So they're touching on road and bridge maintenance operations, not only to repave roads and replace bridges, but also to maintain the systems around those facilities, such as traffic signals, lane markings, what have you. We also take a look at safety improvements at our high crash locations, which we've identified through this long-range plan. We take a look at the walking and biking improvements, especially to improve the access to town centers, village centers, city neighborhoods. We take a look at shared use paths and trails, for example, the Dutchess Rail Trail, Empire State Trail, Harlem Valley Rail Trail, and we also take a look at bus service improvements across the county. 5 other packages, including train access improvements on the Hudson Line and Harlem Line for Metro North. We have packages for congestion management and traffic operations, which relate to the reliability information that we've identified through the long-range plan. We've identified some congested areas within Dutchess, and we want to fix those. We also have packages for electric vehicle charging stations, which is really coming on board, and it seems to be the wave of the future, and we recognize that. And then we also have a package for complete streets corridor studies, which is a little bit on the planning side about what we really do on a day-to-day basis. And then also a land use and zoning incentive program, which we're still trying to, we'll formulate once we're ready, but it's an idea to award or recognize local municipalities that make smart land use decisions and enable them to kind of carry out some of those improvements that we've identified. And then maybe a little more of the fun stuff. So we have this second group of recommendations called transformative projects. And we've identified 8 projects across the county. These include short range and midterm and long range. For some of our short range improvements, the Market Street two-way conversion in the city of Poughkeepsie. As most of you probably know, Market Street is one way, and there's a lot of county facilities there, a lot of tourist destinations. There has been planning studies done that support the conversion of that road to two-way traffic. Arlington Main Street redesign in the town of Poughkeepsie. That's actually a county highway, County Route 114. This is by Davies Hardware, Holy Trinity Church. That linear stretch is actually, it has a high crash incidence, and that's something we want to fix through this transformative project. Transit service in the northern Dutchess and Harlem Valley. They have low-density population groups, but we're trying to find some solutions to provide some type of bus service to those areas. Also redesigning the arterials in Poughkeepsie, town and city, both for the eastbound and westbound arterials. That's actually a part of a study that we're doing right now called the Poughkeepsie 944-55 study that's looking at potential solutions for those facilities. Maybe a little closer to home, we do have two transformative projects identified that would impact, and I will hope, benefit the town of East Fishkill. One, the Route 82 redesign, which would take a look at redesigning the corridor basically between Trinca Lane probably out to Beekman Road. There is some preliminary design work to take a look at those signalized intersections to see if roundabouts can be good fits for those. And we're supportive of that, and so we wanted to recognize that planning work that's been done and trying to progress that through on our long-range plan. But that could be transformative for Hopewell Junction. It would not only include roundabouts, but potential crosswalks, better sidewalk improvements, and in some facilities, we'll almost have a existing roundabout by the 376-82 intersection, in a sort of speak. So, it's kind of building on what we have already. There is the Route 82 bridge project over the Empire State Trail. That bridge is coming down and being replaced by a different facility. So it could tie into some of that work also. So hopefully that'll happen. Another transformative project in East Fishkill, the Beacon Hopewell Rail Trail, which would include a kind of a rail trail facility from the city of Beacon all the way through town and village of Fishkill, out to East Fishkill, and into the Hopewell Junction area. That could be transformative. It's about 13 miles. When you think about it, that could turn Hopewell Junction into this kind of rail trail hub, where you have the Dutchess Rail Trail, the Empire State Trail, and then potentially this Beacon Hopewell Rail Trail converging. So there could be a lot of economic and tourist potential there. So we're certainly supportive of that type of investment. And the last two projects, these are long-term, redesigning the 944-55 interchange by the Mid-Hudson Bridge. It's kind of this modified bow tie. It's also one of our highest crash locations, and generally can be a mess during peak hour periods. And so that's also part of our Poughkeepsie 944-55 study. So we're trying to find some solutions for that. And then the 9D I-84 interchange, which is also a mess right now because of the Newburgh Beacon Bridge work going on. But there are some reliability issues with that intersection and interchange that we want to take a look at for this long-range plan. And then this is just some screenshots. Again, our map viewer has more information, so you can dive into a little bit on some of these projects. But this just shows the general parameters of the Route 82 project that we're recommending. Then the Beacon Hopewell Rail Trail, again, about 13 miles down from downtown city of Beacon, from the train station all the way out to Hopewell. So a lot of potential with that project. Quick snapshot of our schedule. We've been working on this plan for probably well over a year. We actually unveiled the plan website back in November, had a survey, we had a recent funding priorities tool online that got a lot of good feedback. We're in the middle of our public comment period right now, and we hope to finish that up on July 16th. So if folks want to respond to our planning work, please do so. You can submit comments via our website, snail mail, email. You can call us. We even have a fax machine if you want to send a fax and go old school. But we welcome any comments or thoughts about our long-range plan. And we do appreciate everyone's time and effort and support. So I think that's all I got.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming down, giving us a little overview. I do make comments about our meetings when I give the public a little overview of what goes on and all the acronyms, anything else that we go through.
We got them. We get paid more if we create acronyms.
Very good. Well, thank you, Mark.
Great.
I'll
Thank
see
you.
you soon.
Yes, I appreciate the time. Thank you.
So before we get going with our public hearings, I do have some announcements. Glad to see everyone. Hope everyone's healthy. We ended last month with the Sons of Italy Festival on Memorial Day weekend. And then on Monday, the Manny Bacon Post chapter of the American Legion hosted their annual Memorial Day ceremony, hosted by East Fishkill's own Doug McCool. Very nice ceremony, very moving. Our American Legion always does a outstanding job. The Master of Ceremonies, Doug McCool, he celebrated his 50th year doing this ceremony. Mr. McCool, as everyone knows, has been a tremendous public figure in East Fishkill. He served as county legislator, representing East Fishkill from 1971 to 1991. He served as chairman for the legislature during 4 years during that time. Mr. McCool also served as director of Dutchess County Office of the Aging and also commissioner of personnel for Dutchess County. The town board, we presented him with a proclamation for all his service to the town. We had a really, really big cake. There was about 100 people who attended the event. They all enjoyed it, and especially the Deputy Supervisor Cassidy here. But it was a wonderful event, and we're very thankful to Mr. McCool for his service to our country, our county, and our town. On Tuesday the 1st, we had our first in-person Dutchess County Mayors and Supervisors Association meeting in Poughkeepsie this month. We alternate every month where it is. It was great to see everybody in person finally. We have a very good collaboration between all the mayors and supervisors in the county. A great organization. We help each other out tremendously with many, many different issues. Sharing information, sharing employees sometimes saves a lot of time and money for all our communities. Actually, last Thursday, we had another meeting with the Executive Committee, which I'm a member of the Mayors and Supervisors Association. We met with the County Executive, Mark Molinaro, up in his office in Poughkeepsie. We discussed a few subjects, but mostly we discussed the American Rescue Plan. As everybody knows, counties, all municipalities are receiving dollars to pay us back for loss of revenue, and also we have limited areas of where we could spend this money. So the county executive, he put forward his plan, what it's going to be for the county to allocate all these different funds, and basically he broke them into 4 different buckets. The first is for arts, sports, and libraries. The second is for jobs and infrastructure and public safety. The third is county parks. And the fourth is community partnerships. And out of these buckets, different municipalities could apply for different grants for projects, or certain organizations can apply for funding, like, say, East Fishkill Baseball Association. They are usually doing fundraisers, and last year, because of COVID, they weren't able to have them. And if you can prove to the county, perhaps in the past you raised $5,000 or $10,000, they will reimburse those organizations for that. So it's a nice bucket for the county executive to give back to the kids, and that was his intent. So my hat's off to him. It's tough to put together a plan like this, and he has to be accountable just like we have to. There's a lot of paperwork that we have to make sure that we keep accurate, and we have to spend all the money by 2024, and by 2026, we have to probably have an accounting of it all. There'll be an audit, so we have to make sure that we spend it in the correct parameters that the federal government is asking for. So thank you to the mayors and supervisors and the county executive and his staff. On Sunday, June 6th, the East Fishkill Historical Society, they had their annual Strawberry Festival. It was at the Brinkerhoff Putney Homestead on Kensington Drive. That's their headquarters. Great event. A lot of people showed up, actually. It was a nice warm day. They had all their buildings opened on the site for people to look at all the displays. They had goats there for the kids, a little petting zoo, and of course they had their strawberry shortcake that they serve. It's very well done as usual, very organized. They're a great group. And if you haven't stopped by there, please do so. Hours are on the website. With COVID, they changed some hours, but they have a wonderful site there. A lot of volunteers. They give back to the community, and it's a beautiful, beautiful homestead to go visit. So thank you to the Historical Society. On the 7th, I met with Beacon Mayor Lee Kariakou and Town of Fishkill Supervisor Ozzie Albra and Town of Wappinger Supervisor Richard Thurston. Our topic of discussion was assessments, how we can start merging assessments with towns, cities, villages, with the county, and see what the benefits are to that. So, me, for one, I'm never one to lose control over any government function, especially to the county, but there are some benefits. We're trying to determine what the advantages and disadvantages are. Mayor Kariakou from Beacon, he worked in New York State with assessments, so he's very knowledgeable on the subject. He gave us a lot of information to look at. We're also looking at, with several other communities, doing a breakdown and looking at those advantages and disadvantages like I mentioned. So we'll see what they are, and we will go to the Mayors and Supervisors Association and see what comes with that. I will keep everybody informed. But thank you to the mayor for all his planning on that. I appreciate it. I attended a retirement party for the Highway Department this last month. We had a few employees retire. Congratulations to Craig Veely, Keith Servac, Robin Huber, Tom Walker, and Willie McGee for their retirement, their many years of service to East Fishkill. That's a lot of people retiring. I don't know, maybe it's because of the new highway superintendent, but we wish them well in retirement. And shout out, Peter Cassidy wants to give a shout out to Kevin Higgs, Ethan Kelly, and Ron Beach for their work on the grill. He was very happy that they fed him. Well, I'm just telling them. After reviewing different companies that the town uses for our employee assistance program, we've been looking for a change for a little bit now. We decided to go with Employee Assistance Group. They offer many, many more benefits than our current company, different programs for employees, and the price cost is very minimal. It's less than $1,000 for the whole program for the whole year. So it's really a no-brainer. The employees get a lot more benefits. They get financial counseling. They have a parent resource center. They have info on careers and extended education, cyber security. It's a really nice program. It's a budgeted item already for us, but I just wanted to let the public know that we do look at different programs for our employees. And thank you to our HR director and our controller for their work on that. Thank you. Our tax office, as everybody knows, we moved our tax office out of the town hall to Route 52 into the old town hall, which is located next to the police station. It's coming along very well. We did all the work in-house. Thank you to the highway superintendent and all his staff. You saved us a lot of money. And thank you to the tax receiver and her staff. They really didn't miss a beat with this whole move. It was towards the end of the last tax collection, and we did the best we can, and they did a great job. So I just want to thank them for that. Hopewell Hamlet Water District. We have, as everybody knows, we have a new water treatment facility. We've been trying to do a dedication to that. For that new facility, we've been trying to get Congressman Maloney, Senator Schumer's office together, because one of the larger recipients of the filtered water is the Hopewell North Water District, which was funded completely by the EPA. So I'm sure that they would like to attend this event. I'll let you know when we lock in a date for that. But when we're talking about Hopewell North Water District, I want to just give an update. We're still working out many different issues that's been going on there. As everybody knows, my monthly reports, I discussed this in detail. Last month, if you remember, I discussed we had a meeting with the EPA, Conti Construction, Army Corps of Engineers, to discuss all the different issues that have been going on there. Pipe covering's been found in the system, and many leaks that are ongoing there. They did hire a third-party engineer, Delaware Engineering, to do a forensic investigation into these issues, and also a videotaping of all the piping. This is very important to us, very important to the town, very important to the residents of the Hopewell North Water District. The town, we don't want to inherit a water system that's plagued with all these different issues. And ultimately, when the EPA is long gone and all these costs associated with the repairs will be passed to the users of the Hopewell North Water District. So that's why I'm very cautious on accepting this system from the EPA. There should be very minimum repairs being done at this point. It's a brand-new system, And we've discussed this in detail with our engineers, looking for an extended warranty from the EPA, and, try to get as much as we can for our residents in that district. Like I mentioned last month, the paving issue has come up. The town, we've been moving forward with a paving plan to repave all the roads in the Hopewell North Water District. We're waiting to hear what the results are from this forensic investigation that the EPA is doing, but it hasn't come in yet. So the problem for us is we have concerns that we could possibly lose that funding that we have to repair those roads. Or if we repair the roads and there is a larger fix to be had, perhaps they have to go back and cut up the newly paved roads. So this is a situation that's, it's a problem. So we discussed this with the EPA, and they can't move any faster with the forensic investigation, but tonight we do have a resolution to award the bid to get all these roads done. We have a lot of residents complaining about these roads. They want it done, and rightly so. It's been a mess for several years now. So we are going to move forward and award the bid, and then we'll have to work with the EPA and the Army Corps and the federal contractor to develop the plan on what the ultimate fix will be. Hopefully, it'll be a smaller fix, not a large fix where they have to dig up the roads. But at that point, then we'll have to do what we have to guarantee that they will repair the roads. So I want to share, I share as much information as I can with the public, and this is no different. So if you have any questions, please call my office about Hopewell North Water District issues, 221-4303. You know I always will get back to you. East Fishkill, we're going to be in another movie. Actually, it's a comedy series called Life and Beth for Hulu TV. It's a series created by actress Amy Schumer, and it stars Kevin Kane and Michael Rappaport. They will be filming at Red Wing Park, right off of 82, for 3 days, July 6th, 7th, and 8th. The park will be closed to the public during that time. We have a resolution tonight for this. We've had several movies in our town, different filmings. On Shenandoah Farm, they film several films, Malcolm X. They did HBO's series Orange is the New Black there. MTV filmed many videos there as well. So it's kind of exciting. So I just wanted to share that that's going to be happening soon. And thanks to our clerk's office, and our rec department for help facilitating that. Cemeteries in town, as everybody knows, the town of East Fishkill, we maintain the cemeteries. We maintain, there's one small one in Stormville that has been overlooked for many years. There was one headstone left. It has been restored. It's located right off of old Route 52, right in the center of Stormville. A big thank you to Tony Cavaluzzi from Stormville and Anthony Pisciata from the Bronx. He came up here, he found this somehow online that we're looking to repair this. He came up here at his own cost. He repaired the stone, and we're very thankful to it. It came out very, very nice. So thank you, and we will continue to maintain that little piece of history there. Tomorrow, U.S. Senator Kristen Gillibrand, she will be having a press conference at our community center located on Route 82. The senator, along with New York State Attorney General Letitia James, Dutchess County Executive Mark Molinaro, New York State Senator Sue Serino, they will all be attending. This is to discuss legislation that has been passed bipartisanly with the Senate to protect seniors against financial scams. Unfortunately, there's a lot of predators out there that look to take advantage of our seniors, and hats off to the federal government for passing a federal law against these people. So tomorrow, if you're around or you want to come, it's 11:30 at our community center. I know Bill Green will be there. Last week, I had a phone interview with the Poughkeepsie Journal they're running a story on the former IBM East and West campuses. They basically wanted to know what's been changed over the years, how it's affected the town, and how it's compared to then and now. And yeah, good or bad, indifferent. IBM put East Fishkill on the map. It's a shame that they polluted the site, the East Campus. It's a shame that their semiconductor business it wasn't as successful, continued to be successful. But they did build wonderful infrastructure there, which we are taking full advantage of right now for all the redevelopment that's going on. The East and West campuses are very successful right now. The addition to Amazon to the West Campus and iPark to the East Campus, it's a very good, sound economic development model. We transformed that whole West Campus dilapidated chip manufacturing into this really redevelopment dream for the town. And this is what the town board's been focusing on, so thank you to the town board. We would like to see these older sites get redeveloped. They have the infrastructure already in place. I'm very thankful to the former supervisor, John Hickman. He initiated the general environmental impact statement on both the East and West Campus, and that was really the facilitator for this economic growth there. So that forward thinking is what we are continuing to do, and those are the reasons why East Fishkill really is the most successful town in Dutchess County. It's very evident. They've produced a lot of jobs, iPark already. iPark is going, Amazon's going to produce even more, and businesses are moving here because we have a stable tax base. We have the lowest tax rate in Dutchess, Putnam, and Orange County with a full-time police department. So my hat's off to our town board for keeping us the lowest tax town with a full-time police department. So that's a real feather in our cap. Also, I just want to clarify a few things about the Amazon project. You hear things on social media that are inaccurate, and I've discussed this all the time, but people say that that project will not be paying taxes because Dutchess County authorized a tax pilot, which they will be getting. That is not even true. That's a lie. So whoever tells you that, that is inaccurate, okay? They have a tax pilot, which at year one, they get their largest tax break. They will pay double the amount of taxes than that site is producing right now. And it only goes up from there. This is a tremendous tax generator for the county, for the town, for our fire district, our library. It's our school district. It's a tremendous amount of dollars for these districts. It's 500 full-time jobs, 600 part-time jobs. So when people say this, it gets me upset because these are lies that are out there. And they tried to portray this board as trying to cover something up or do something. We're here to make sure that we grow the town in a good, effective way. And jobs help our economy throughout the whole region. So I just want to thank all our professionals for working on this, getting this project here. It's going to be wonderful. We also negotiated a wonderful traffic mitigation plan for Route 52. It's a multi-million-dollar project with a roundabout, a new bypass road which will be a town road, a school drop-off area. It's all mostly being paid by Amazon. Whatever's not being paid by Amazon will be paid by all the properties or around there that will benefit from this traffic mitigation plan. So the town practically pays zero for this wonderful traffic mitigation plan. So please don't listen to the false information. Like I always say, come to us, call me, call the town board. We're here to listen to you. We're here to tell you what is going on. We work for you. So please call us. Our information is available, and we're here to do the best job we can for our town. And with that, Madam Clerk, could you call the roll? Can you hear her? Hold on, Madam Clerk. All right, let's see. Try now, Carol, can you hear me?
She can hear you. You gotta increase the volume.
Raise the volume.
Okay, go ahead, Carol.
Present.
Councilman Franco,
Present.
Councilman Marinero,
Present.
Councilman Beeson,
Present.
Supervisor D'Alessandro.
Present. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Everybody has, before that, we'll just start with our public hearings. We have two public hearings tonight. The first is a public hearing considering the formation of the Route 52 Water District. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing's now opened. So we have been discussing this with Global Foundries for a very long time, with Dutchess County. I mean, a very, very long time. Would the town attorney like to give a little overview about this, please?
Certainly. What the town board has before it tonight are two actions. One is to consider forming a water district that would include all of the properties that were formerly totally owned by Global Foundries and now are owned jointly or separately by Global Foundries and iPark. It consists of 8 parcels. And what has happened is when it was all one site, the water supply, the water source there is from the Dutchess County Water Authority through the main pipe that comes down from the plant in Poughkeepsie. And the contract for that water was IBM, now it's with Global Foundries. So they have been providing all the water to the entire site. Now that it's been divided into separate lots, under the New York State health law, they're not allowed to supply water to other lots because they're not a water provider. So what is proposed tonight would be that they are asking permission to form what's known as a transportation corporation to operate the Hudson Valley Research Park Waterworks. And then this company would have the legal right to provide water to all of those lots and to fulfill some contractual commitments that Global Foundry has to iPark, and also conditions and for water supply to the town of East Fishkill. The cost to the consumers of the water within that commercial district are all subject to regulation by the Public Service Commission. So if the board agrees to do that, the public hearing tonight is to consider forming a water district to include that property, because should at some point in the future something happen and this corporation not meet its obligations, then the operation would default to this town district, and it would still be paid for by the same property owners, not the town itself, but the town would have to administer the district at that time. We've had this happen once or twice in the town with these private water companies over the years. Unfortunately, water districts were not formed before, because back in the 60s and 70s, it wasn't the custom. So we're kind of doing the water district proactively to protect the future if any issues raise up. So that, in a nutshell, is what it is.
But like I mentioned in my comments, it's our redevelopment zone, East and West Campus. They, right now, currently, Global Foundries gets a 2 million gallon allotment a day.
Correct.
And we have a contract with them to provide water for expansion for us, for the
Right.
town, for economic development. So this helps facilitate all our needs in those 2 campuses. Any questions or comments?
So Tom, this new transportation corporation, how many members and who decides, who sits on this corporation?
Well, the corporation itself, it's treated like a not-for-profit corporation, so it's being formed by Global Foundries itself, so they'll be operating the corporation. The agreement is, and the legal requirement would be, if that site transfers to another chip manufacturer, which we know it will in 2 years go to ON, then ON will be in that corporation, okay? If the town ever wanted to take over the system, if they were going to sell it, there'll be no cost for it. It would come to this district free of charge.
Would the town have any supervisory?
We don't have any legal obligation to, but obviously, we always monitor these private districts to the best possible. The direct responsible agency to supervise it is the New York State Department of Health for the water quality, and the Public Service Commission for cost and operation.
Why don't we open up to the public? Anybody in the public wish to speak for or against the, considering the formation of this Water Transportation Corporation? Sure, come right up to the podium, please.
You look so much better in person than on my TV screen. How are
you?
Good. Just a quick question with the water district. Is it affecting any of the residential areas in the?
No.
It's just that
Just
parcel
that
there in
commercial,
IBM?
right.
And I see on the disclosures that you sent out that there was an environmental study. It doesn't look very thorough to me. Is there something else that's been thoroughly done?
Oh, yes, there was an
especially on-
extensive, as the supervisor indicated, when we started the process of creating a reuse zone in that area, there was an extensive environmental impact study performed that's available. So this is just a environmental assessment form on the administrative action of forming the district.
Okay, and just one more question. While we were talking about the water district in North Hopewell, I was thinking about how it would contribute to how this water district is built. Are there lessons learned? Will they be shared with this private company?
This company already, all the infrastructure is built. There's not going to be.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the
Okay.
only new construction would take place if they have to modify or expand or something like that within that district.
Okay, I lied. I have one more question.
So I can expand on that as well.
Sure.
So basically, what a Water Transportation Corporation is that site, say, where Global Foundries is, used to be IBM. So that was one site, one owner. Then IBM subdivided the site, and there were other entities, iPark and others. So whether it's still on the same campus, but those water is provided to across a property line now. And once you do that, New York State Department of Health requires you to have a permit to transport that water over a property line. So basically, this is for paper use, but that's it in a nutshell.
And the way I understood that is that the company that's being built to sort of manage this new water district to kind of get over that is a subsidy of Global Foundries, is that correct?
Yes,
And I'm trying to figure out how a private company, oh, you said it was non-for-profit.
right.
So it would get designated to the.
Right, what happens is they have to submit a budget and the rate cost to the Public Service Commission. They are allowed some amount for supervision after their operation costs. But if you were to go to site, there's actual building that will be transferred to this corporation. We agreed to a sewerage corporation because there is a sewer treatment plant on site, and that plant is a separate sewer works corporation. Similar to this, except sewer corporations, the rates are set by the town board, not the Public Service Commission.
And where can I find that environmental study? Is there
Yeah,
some?
you can email the planning department.
Okay.
And they'd be happy to get that for you.
Okay, thank you guys for answering my questions.
Sure. Anyone else wish to speak on the formation of the Route 52 Water District? No? Any other comments from the town board or questions, concerns? No? Like I said, this has been a really long time prior to me being supervisor, trying to get a deal with Dutchess County and the whole situation there, so. Okay, do I have a motion to close the public hearing? So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Do I have a motion to adopt the negative declaration?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And do I have a motion to adopt the order to form the district?
So moved?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? District's now formed. Thank you very much. Second public hearing. Do I have a motion to open a public hearing concerning amending the zoning ordinance to create an overlay district for Route 52 corridor?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now opened. So as most of you know, we've been dealing this for a little bit too. The town board placed a moratorium on Route 52 from the Taconic State Parkway to Blue Hill Road, or a little west of Blue Hill Road. And basically, we're trying to get a handle on things over there. We don't have much infrastructure. We have contaminated water. We have no sewer. We have traffic problems. So the town board did initiate this moratorium, and subsequently, we hired a planning professional to do a comprehensive look at what's going on in that corridor, and we're at the point we are right now. We tried to look at different things, what we could do for Route 52 in that area, because we would love to have infrastructure be placed down there that would help us with the contaminated wells along that corridor and try to expand economic development. We have come up with our first go-around here. Nothing's perfect, but we're see how this works for us in this area. It's a tough area. There's a lot of traffic, but this is our first go at it. Would the town attorney like to give us another little?
Well, I'm just filling in for the
Yes,
town planner. who
Our
had-
planner unfortunately could not make it tonight, so.
But she did turn over some of the studies that have been performed. And I think that just to make it as quick and easy as possible, when the town board imposed the moratorium, which unfortunately was longer than we wanted it to be, but with COVID and some other issues, it did get extended. But these several base studies were performed. One was the traffic study of that corridor, because everyone knows from the Taconic to 500 feet west of Blue Hill Road, there are significant traffic issues. Aside from just the turning lane issue at 376, you have the intersection of Hosner Mountain Road. You have those ramps off of the Taconic. So that's all been analyzed and studied. Second thing is the town engaged Behan Associates from Saratoga, who were planning consultants who did a planning study of the corridor. And what they did was, first they do a land use inventory, what's there, what land's there, how it's utilized. Then they gave the town board 2 presentations about some potential uses that could be there. And obviously, when we started this journey, we were looking to see what could be encouraged there that would solve some of the problems of the corridor. So in order to solve problems, Route 52 is a state highway. And if we wait for the state to come and fix Route 52 in that area, we'll be waiting a very long time. So what a lot of communities do is they see if there's a development that could be encouraged and see what infrastructure improvements could come from allowing that type of development. So quite honestly, when we started on this journey, we thought a higher density residential use would perhaps generate the ability to fix the traffic problem on 52 and bring sewer and water extensions from Hopewell Hamlet. Obviously, between the traffic study and the infrastructure analysis, the costs of those are so great that the number of units that would have to be allowed would exceed whatever expectation that we would have for that corridor. So what we have done now is to propose an overlay zone in that corridor, which cleans up some currently existing issues in the corridor for the property owners. We have certain properties that are split zone. The lots are zoned business in the front, but the back part of it is residential. So by this overlay zone, we're going to allow the business use to extend further into the lots. That will clean up some of the existing businesses and the confined limits they work under. Secondly, we're taking care of an issue. There are some homes that were built before it was zoned business, and they're now non-conforming residential uses. And because they're non-conforming, they can't have all the amenities that any other residential home in the town could have, like a playground for the kids in the back or a pool, things like that. So this would allow a pre-existing residential home in a B1 zone in this area to have those amenities the same as any other residential district. It also triggers some other uses, such as would permit a assisted living facility to be developed on the site. It does indicate that it would have to have public sewer and water for that type of facility, but the thought is to see what could be developed, what's proposed, and then the town board could always consider variations of that. It also would, just some of the other uses, allow a mixed-use concept, and that would be on a commercial building. There could be a second floor up to, say, 5 apartments, which would allow a mixed use and perhaps create some different energy. It would allow a neighborhood grocery store type use, which now would not be permitted in a B zone. It also would formalize the ability of restaurants to have outdoor dining in that area. And then the other side of the coin, this would also eliminate some uses that currently would be allowed. And they are the heavier uses that I think most people would feel should be more in in an industrial area, contractors' yards, et cetera. It limits would not allow any more gas stations in the area because it
Outdoor
seems
storage.
outdoor storage, motor vehicle repair shops, there seems to be enough already. So those are the general summary of what the overlay zone would do. I think that everyone's feeling is, as the supervisor indicated, it's not perfect, it's not the end, but it's a beginning of looking at these areas and corridors that need a little attention given to them.
As best we can, right? It's tricky. It's a balance, and it's hard to see what the future holds, but we have to try to encourage, economic development and to bring other infrastructure down that corridor. It's a tough gambit. But before the town board speaks, why don't we open it up to the public? Anybody wish to speak on this, this overlay zone, please come up to the podium and, please, just state your name if you could, please.
Thanks for your time today, gentlemen. Tony Taylor, my first town board meeting. How cool is this?
Welcome.
Thank you. So, this plan sounds fabulous. Congratulations. It sounds like an interesting way to fix a problem regarding, state access to state resources. But it also sounds like the perfect opportunity to bring in like other developers and outside funding sources. Have any of those funding sources or developers, have they been identified yet, or is there an RFP process, or what is that process, and what will be the public visibility to that process?
No, well, it's all private property, so that would be a private property deal, but, so there's no RFP process for that. And when a project does come, if there's a deal to be had, somebody wants to put, say, assisted living facility, they have to come apply for this overlaid use, and then the town board would have to deny or allow it.
Okay, so
So
it'd
then
be,
there would be a fully thorough public vetting of the project.
right, and vetting, and then all the documentation and the records would be available, website,
Environmental
video, et cetera, et
impact
cetera.
statements, everything. They'd have to be in front of our planning board to do a full secret review by New York State that is obligated, and, all the other rules and procedures from the state.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Sure. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, members of the town board. My name is Dan Leary. I'm an attorney, and I represent JFE Associates. They're at 2528 Route 52. The site's approximately 26 and a half acres. It's currently improved with an indoor and outdoor sports facility. I'm sure you're very familiar with it.
Yep.
And driving range and batting cages, but most of it at this time remains unimproved. And it is within the proposed overlay district that's being heard tonight, and we thank you for the opportunity to be heard this evening. So, through a series of extensions, the property has been under contract since August of 2019. And at that time, I don't think any of this was on the radar screen. It happened that fall when you enacted the moratorium and started to look at this. Right now, the buyer is waiting the conclusion of the moratorium and the outcome of this zoning amendment, so it's very important that it's done the right way to keep him in the fold. I want to talk a little bit about the reports that Tom mentioned. Tom mentioned the Behan report, and we looked at that report, and we saw a couple of different components of it. One was that it called for incentive zoning. In other words, that density and other things would be tied to incentives for creating the infrastructure that it sounds like you're looking for. This law as drafted does not have that in it at all. It doesn't have anything about incentives. It has a requirement that developers contribute to the infrastructure, to the sewer and water, and to the road improvements, but it doesn't create any incentives for them to do so. And we think that's a major void in the whole as it is drafted, and it's something that you really need to look at. And I think it was something that was discussed even by the gentleman from the county who spoke before. The other void, not quite 100% void, but a void in any event, is that the Behan report recommended a like Hamlet mixed-use design for this corridor. And so what the law proposes right now is just one building with 5 residential unit limit on it. And most respectfully, how can a Hamlet area be created with that kind of limitation? I just don't see it happening. And I heard your message about residential, but instead of precluding it outright, again, look at projects and applications on a case-by-case basis, have them do a traffic study, have them look at all the issues that you're reviewing, and also have an incentive in the zoning to make good projects and good development come. Because I don't think economic development and the projects you want are going to come to this area the way this law is currently drafted. I think it needs other features to it to get them to come to this area. The issues with the assisted living are the same. It's great that you're allowing assisted living as a permitted use, but again, Jay Annis, one of the principals in JFE, is here this evening, and we have our contacts in the real estate world, and we're learning that right now there is no market for assisted living in this particular location. And on top of that, you've provided a limitation of 25% building coverage for assisted living, which is actually less than the current building coverage of 35%. So you're actually making it lower than before. And we just don't see any assisted living business coming to this location when they're restricted to 25% building coverage, and they're required to do all the infrastructural improvements that the zoning amendment proposes right now without any kind of incentive associated with it. We just don't see that happening. In addition, I just find the way it's drafted now as confusing with the ancillary uses to assisted living. It talks about commercial uses, but what are they? Are they standalone commercial uses? Do they have to be related to the assisted living use? And it's blurry to me, how that's going to play out right now. I think that wording has to be addressed. We didn't attend the planning board meeting where they reviewed the law, but we watched the video of it. And one thing that caught my attention is one of the planning board members, and I think it was affirmed by your town planner, said that our piece of property is underutilized. And we very much agree with that statement. It is underutilized. So the question is, how do you get the highest and best use into this property, which seems to be like the most prominent property in this overlay district and the one that has the most at stake. So unfortunately, and we thank you for your efforts so far in trying to address these things, but the draft as it exists now doesn't quite get it done, and we would like you to consider, we strongly urge you to consider a continuing review of it and to not act this evening so these issues can be addressed, and what's before you is you putting your best foot forward and getting what will be something that will draw economic development and good projects into this area. Finally, the other issue is, and Tom mentioned it, but right now it's in the B1 zone, and certain uses that are permitted now are going to be eliminated. So the bottom line is that we're not better off in terms of what was permitted before, because those uses that were permitted as of right are going to be gone, and they're not going to be there anymore. So the underlying zoning district is actually being reduced in terms of what permitted uses are available. We're trying to, we're obviously trying to close on this property, but we're also concerned about the future of it. And the lady who spoke before talked about RFPs and things like that to get good development in. But the bottom line is, and, I represent applicants and developers mostly, I do not see them coming to this site unless you look at some of these amendments to what you have drafted now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Leary. So just a few comments on that. So incentive for housing, it's, there's limitations, unfortunately, in this area, in this stretch of 52, with the limited water and sewer infrastructure. Yes, we would like projects to come here to bring that infrastructure, but the cost to bring water and sewer is very expensive. And in order for a project to pay for the water and sewer extension to this area to help a project, you're talking hundreds of units. The road, the infrastructure, the area, that's more than this town board or the public feels from what we've gathered from projects that are going on in this town, that exceeds the amount of units that the town would like to see. So, yeah, we do want infrastructure to be expanded to that area, and I understand that the only way is to incentivize them with a large amount of units, but it just doesn't fit the bill. And yeah, the draft isn't perfect, but it does benefit most of the properties in this area. It might not benefit your property, but it does benefit most of the properties in this area. There is a mixed-use provision in here which does allow you to have commercial, residential on top of commercial. Yes, it's limited because we don't want to see too many apartments going up. We want to see something where the residents above will help the businesses below. And yes, it's not a large amount, but it is something. It is the formation of a small hamlet. This was our desire. And yes, maybe we will have to revisit when each project comes forward. Since there is no water and sewer available, we might have to allow them to put septic and a well on there. So that's something that the town board will have to look at when each project comes forward, when there is a proposal. So I do appreciate that. And what is the building coverage now for the current assisted living? Do we know that offhand?
Offhand, I don't know.
Okay, so perhaps maybe we should increase that lot coverage for assisted living.
Well, it'd be the same as the base. We could make it the same as currently in the base.
Okay, so that would be an improvement to, yeah, you're right, maybe it isn't enough to 25%, maybe we need 35, 40%, but to attract an assisted living. An assisted living is a wonderful business to attract to this town. It produces not that much traffic, it has good jobs, it's a very, very nice project. So these are sort of things that this town board is looking to do. But I appreciate your comments, thank you. Anybody else wish to speak for or against the Route 52 overlay district? Town board comments.
So we've been discussing this area for maybe a couple of years now, and we had a study conducted. I remember at the time that the presentation was made that when this area needed to be addressed for developing, the town board had to kind of look at the whole picture, not just one individual parcel at a time, and kind of really guide how to best develop that area over there. The problem is the traffic, without a doubt. That portion of the road between the Taconic Parkway and 376, there is no alternative way, if in case there is any kind of problems on that road, to really move the traffic around. Right now, we had an incredible amount of complaints because the state had to repave the roads over there. you know, it's a juggling act. We're trying to move along in a way that, you know, we don't want to step on anybody's toes in particular, but at the same time address an issue that has not been addressed for a long time. And if you try to travel in that road when people come home from work, it takes a long time to really get through that mile of traffic. And again, me personally, as a town resident, I would like to see some kind of alternative road if in case there is, you know, if we develop that area and there is a catastrophe of some kind, then what? How do we deal with that? So it's something to think about. And again, this plan may not be perfect, but it's the beginning and it's not written in stone. I believe, like the town supervisor said, could be modified as the time goes on, so.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments, Town Board?
There isn't a week that goes by when I don't receive a comment in one way or another about overcrowding in this town. People that have lived here a very long time, they know that the population has increased, and they know it every time they leave their house, trying to get to Taconic or 84 or just the other side of town. And as the supervisor mentioned, this is a start. You know, we have to do something, and it's great that, I mean, it's not great, but the studies that Behan did does reflect the sentiments of a lot of people across the town, especially those that have lived here for quite some time. And, you know, this is a start, like the supervisor said, and the beauty of legislation is it could be changed. So if and when that time comes, it could be looked at again. So,
Thank you,
on
Councilman.
that.
Any other comments? Questions? Anybody else from the pub? Go ahead.
No, it really is just a starting point for us to move on from, and we can either adopt this, or we can keep the moratorium there for 4 years. But I don't think we want to see that.
No, we don't want to do that.
You know, because if you don't start it, you're not gonna figure out what's really gotta go there. And seniors' housing is really what we need. You know,
There's been a
assisted
lot of
living is
requests for
what
that.
we need in this town.
Absolutely.
And it's been a shame because it's been proposed a dozen times, and none of them have ever come to fruition in this town.
Well, we have one going.
Yeah.
See how that goes. Anyone from the public else wish to speak for or against this? Yes, please come up. Just state your name at the podium, please.
Hi, my name's Cynthia. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I've been watching at home too during the pandemic, got a little bit more interested. I do want to say that I love the idea of proposing senior housing, but I do think that you're looking at it as a business standpoint and not at the quality of life for the residents who are currently aging out of their homes in East Fishkill and can no longer afford to live here. So when you're looking at developing it, I think that it would be a huge benefit to the people that already live in this town. And maybe instead of just looking at it as a business development, but also our community development for the people who do stay here for generations. Thank you.
Thank you for that. That's exactly what we've been doing. We want our seniors to be able to stay here. It's very, very important to us. So yes, we will absolutely be looking at that, and that's something that I know everybody on this town board agrees with.
Yeah, and that's why we don't have any assisted living facilities here. We do have one, a senior housing project that was approved by the town board recently. They will start construction, but no assisted living. So when you have a family, a husband and wife, and one might need some more care than another, and those type of facilities are needed, they're wanted.
And the closest one's on the other side of Fishkill right now.
So, this was our hope, and like I said, it doesn't preclude any project from coming forward to the town board. We could take a look at that, and perhaps then we make a change at that necessary time. So yes, please come on.
So I'm a little bit baffled about the procedures, but before I get to that, I think Mr. Supervisor, I think you don't have any assisted living, because from what we're hearing, when we've had our property for sale, the assisted living people are telling us, there's not a market here yet. It's not dense enough yet. We're not going to build in East Fishkill. Secondly, leave out the high-density housing for the time being. You've taken away one of the aspects, one of the hotter areas of development, which is warehouses. You've proposed not having warehouses on the property, yet you're allowed 675,000 square feet just 2 miles down the road.
That's an industrial site.
And it's also not even gonna be on local roads.
But it's not, a warehouse is not going to generate a lot of traffic, so.
When there's
you know,
1,000 employees or more?
No, they wouldn't be on our property. It would be a much smaller, obviously, a much smaller warehouse. I'd almost say to the board, you tell me, what would go there? Assisted living's not going to go there. Warehouses are not.
You said it won't come there right now, but if the zoning is in place, okay, that increases the value of your property.
It wasn't a question of zoning that made them not come. It was their study saying this area is not viable for assisted living. That's what we heard from 2 different companies.
Okay, yet, you said yet.
This is in the last year and a half.
Okay,
So,
well, this is just another use. You also could, you have mixed use. You could put commercial, you could put
so
residential
let's go
above
back to
that.
the commercial of, you know, a building with 5 apartments over it. Number one, nobody's going to do that and help your infrastructure, because it's not going to pay.
That's
Number
why I
two-
said we'll have to
Number 2 is,
To look
you
at
know,
that again.
who's even going to build a strip center with 5 apartments over it? You can't rent that, you know, what a strip center nowadays, nobody's going to build it. I don't see it. And, you know, if you take all of the potential properties in the overlay district and say, okay, every one of them's going to put a commercial use and 5 apartments over it, what do you have? 50 people? That's not a hamlet. So anyway, I'm only asking in terms of procedural that there are certain things we'd obviously like to have further discussion on, and maybe you don't vote on this tonight, rather than saying, okay, we're going to vote on this, we're going to put it in, and, you know, see what happens down the road. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else wish to speak for or against the Route 52?
I got a question.
Yes.
If we don't vote on it, what is that point?
Well, the moratorium expires. They would be allowed to use the B uses as they currently exist until such time as you amend the zoning
So
law.
we either have to extend the moratorium or vote on it tonight.
Well, yeah,
Yes.
basically, yes. Mhm.
But we can vote on it and agree to a meeting at the same time, correct?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
Councilor, I have a question for the gentleman. So you have 26 acres, you say, no property? And you have, I'm sure you have reviewed, you know, the presentations that, so you have an idea of what you would propose to put there?
Well, first of all, we've had an agreement since August, as Mr. Leary said, since August of 2019, for somebody to come in and buy the property with no specifications as to what future zoning would be, no site plan approval needed. They were ready to buy the property as is. And all of a sudden, the moratorium comes in, and here we are 2 years later, and now we have an overlay district.
So you don't have something that you think could go there as a present owner that you're marketing this property for?
Yes.
Is that correct?
I'm not a developer.
Okay.
I'm relying on what other people who have looked at the property and what the buyer is telling me.
So what do they want to build?
I don't know. They were ready to bid to buy without, you know, they didn't tell me what they were going to build. They didn't tell me, you know, we need site plan approval. They said, we're gonna buy the property.
Okay, well, I understand that the town board doesn't make actions for one property in particular. This is for a whole corridor. There are benefits, like I said, if there's a project to be had, of course, you can bring that project forward to the town board. We could discuss that at that point. Is there anybody else to wish to speak for or against this? Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing now closed. So do I have a motion to adopt the negative declaration?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Neg deck is passed. And do I have a motion to adopt the local law? So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Local law is now passed. Thank you. Okay, public hearings are now over. Everybody received the May 27, 2021 minutes? Any changes, alterations, modifications, Madam Clerk? No? Okay, do I have a motion to approve May 27, 2021 minutes? So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. We have one addition to the agenda, which I will read last. It's a hiring of a junior civil engineer. Okay. Courtesy of the floor, this is the time of the meeting where anybody can come up to the podium, speak on any general town issues, anything on the agenda, anything you like.
I have to run,
You better make it fast, Bill.
it'll be fast. I have to get to volleyball and basketball. You hit one of the things I wanted to bring up. When we close Red Wing for those 2 or 3 days, we also have to cancel fishing that Wednesday night because I've met with the people. There are going to be trucks, vans, cranes. It's going to be a wild scene. But in the long run, Red Wing Park will be on television.
Maybe you could run the crane.
By the way, I wore a Met hat for you, Nick.
I appreciate that.
I want to make a couple announcements because we've been getting calls left and right. We are planning on opening the gym at Lime Kiln, tell me if I'm incorrect, on June 30th, Wednesday, after a year and a half of being closed.
Yes.
Okay, that's one
We
people.
have limited hours, so please check the website for them.
Yeah, the hours will be different. I did confirm today, we are going to finally get on buses again. We've scheduled a trip to the local casino at the resorts, to Radio City. We're working on the Christmas show again, but we did book Saratoga Raceway, so all the people that have been calling, we will be going, and Resorts has no restrictions. They're not going to ask if you had the vaccine. They just want you to bring your money.
Yeah. that's-
We are now fully scheduled concerts. We have a good one tomorrow night, and we're going to have 4 at Red Wing Park. Red Wing Park is open to full capacity. Camp starts Monday. Our golf program starts on Monday. Swim lessons and the swim team. We are ready to go full force, and I just want to thank the town highway. We've got the net up on Field 4 that people have been asking about. We have the pickleball courts have been fixed over in Lime Kiln. Pickleball is very big. If you don't know what it is, look it up. It's the new golf, the new tennis, the new everything. And I had a question, well, one other thing. I know there's an opening for recreation director. I emailed you 5 gentlemen today. I highly recommend Christine Selbach if she is eligible for that position. She's done an outstanding job since we've had this opening. And she is organized so much more than I am that I get very jealous of that.
We all know this, Bill.
And I highly recommend her if, when you make that appointment. And the last thing, this is for you, Nick. Which is going to come first? The electric computerized board out front
We're
or the
bidding it.
dome?
We're bidding the sign.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. I have to go to volleyball. Thanks again.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Anybody else we wish to speak on any general town issues, anything on the agenda? Yes.
I do have to run after this, so I'm going to Not volleyball, I have a 4-year-old. So a couple years ago, I brought up a sandbox in one of the pocket parks. I'm sure you remember me. And after they voted against it, they filled it with sand, and it has not been maintained since. After I sent research to everybody on the board, no improvements have been made to the park. and I would like you to put that on the agenda. I actually emailed you when one of the swings rusted through and broke, and all 3 of the other swings are still in the same rusted state, and they haven't even replaced the one they took down. So why don't you do something about it? This is brand new. What about the children in our community who play in that park?
We go thoroughly, our highway superintendent and staff review, we have many pocket parks.
I mean, they
and-
take naps right on the side of that park when they're parking their truck and cutting the lawn. I drive by it every day. So why don't they do their job?
I'm sorry, excuse me, who?
Yeah, the summer staff. You know, they sit there, they play around on their phones. They're in that park. They're hanging out. Why don't they do something? So as somebody who lives there and walks around and has a child who I would like to play on that park, I do want something done about it.
Sure, highway superintendent, what do you think?
I'll take a ride down there tomorrow.
There we go.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
Have a great night.
Take care now.
Two.
Anybody else wish to speak? Any general town issues?
Good evening, all. I have a few things.
Sure.
First, a little comment on the Dutchess County gentleman that was here early on in tonight's
Yes,
meeting.
Mark the Bald.
Okay. I'm sure a majority of these comments can or would be addressed when the website is activated on the 16th of July. But I was wondering if he was referring to a population over 50,000 to the county population or a municipality?
I don't know what you're talking about specifically.
He talked about this on his PowerPoint program.
Transportation Improvement Program?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Is it for each municipality within Dutchess County or Dutchess
Well,
County?
they look at it, no, they look at the whole county as a whole.
So it's a 50,000 in Dutchess County, and so it
Right, so
qualifies for these.
those are I forgot the acronym that they use, the
Yeah,
larger.
DCT, something.
Yeah, no,
like
but the larger one,
Okay.
the multi, I forgot,
that.
regional.
All right. I want to fast forward through this because it's not really where I wanted to drill down on in what I wanted to ask or present. But he's also, in his PowerPoint, he spoke about urbanizing. I have a little bit of a beef about urbanizing and an Agenda 21 approach. He talked about
Well,
climate
you
change.
could talk to him about that, that's
Okay,
not for
then
our
that's-
purview.
okay. All right. Well, I wanted to bring to the town board's attention of my concerns of his presentation and I guess selling to East Fishkill this whole proposition.
So the Dutchess County Transportation Council looks at all the transportation needs in our MPO. So they look and say, he mentioned Route 82. For long time, as everybody knows who lives here, we have very bad traffic congestion on 82. There's proposed roundabouts. How are they gonna get funded? These are the vessels where they get funded. The Transportation Safety Council gets dollars from the state and from the federal government. So those two pots of money fund the MPO. And from that, there's a committee, which East Fishkill is a standing member, because we're one of the largest towns in Dutchess County. So I attend those meetings monthly when they review all these different projects. And how do they fund them? Where are they gonna get the money? We got the money from them to replace Carroll Drive Bridge. Then, obviously, this project takes a long time. It's over budget because the cost of material now, as everybody knows, has gone up. They look at future projects where they could borrow money from others to get the projects currently slated to be done. They get projects done like Route 82 Bridge. Sometimes the state gets extra money from the federal government, and then they import that into these MPOs. So the DOT requested that this bridge be replaced. So at that time, they did an amendment to the Transportation Improvement Program. They asked the members on this committee, I'm one of them, if we would like to see this project. Of course, we would.
Sure, but it's a state road. It's a state road, and don't they have an obligation to the remediation of a state road bridge?
Of course they do, but these
I don't
are,
want to sell out East Fishkill
the
to an
whole,
agenda.
you know what it comes down to? Where are they gonna get the funding? That's all it is. So they have to come up with all these different plans, and like you said, I forgot what you
Well,
said.
they're
but-
buzzwords.
but-
They say climate change,
But
they
yeah,
say quality
so,
of life and
so they
equity.
use these
and-
sort of things because what's attached? Attached is federal dollars. They want to get as much federal dollars as they
Who's in
can.
charge of our federal government right now?
I'm sorry?
I said, what party is in charge of our federal
Oh, that's
government?
not- that's-
Well, when
I
he uses
understand.
buzzwords like equity and demographics and climate change and things of that sort, that's where I get concerned. I don't want to sign on to that.
Working on this for years.
I understand that, and I understand your position. Trust me, I do. But my job is to make sure I get fixes for the town.
I understand,
Okay,
but not at a sellout to the citizens of this town. I want to reemphasize what I said. Federal dollars and who is in charge of our federal government right now? At how many trillions of dollars in deficit spending?
I understand that, but my purview is $25 million budget right here in the town of East Fishkill.
I didn't want to drill down on that because I had some local issues that I wanted to, and, okay.
Sure.
And thank you for responding.
Of course.
But, Keith, I just gotta echo what you said. In that presentation over there, there is always the carrot at the end of the stick. And I have to really agree with you, not to negate anything to what the town supervisor mentioned, that we do need these projects to be taken care of. But the bottom line is that we spoke about this at length years ago. That step by step by step, there is some kind of an agenda that is even happening in our backyards. These are rural areas that they're trying to transform.
Urbanize it.
Okay,
They
the
wanna
gentleman
urbanize it.
mentioned recharge station for electric cars. And my question is, if everybody in this room tomorrow switches to electric cars, how are those stations going to be getting energy from?
Yeah.
Where is all this energy to charge those electric cars for the future? Everybody is pushing this, but the end of the game is, they don't have a plan of how to dispose of those electric batteries once those cars their usefulness is no longer good.
These wind turbines use 80 gallons of oil per year that has to be disposed of. These propellers, they have a 20-year life expectancy. They're not biodegradable. They have to dispose of them. This whole electric energy thing is a farce.
You say you have local issues to discuss? I have an officer, a new officer wanting to
Okay,
get
I'm sorry, I
hired.
didn't want to digress, but I'm sorry. Okay, so, Hillside Lake and the roads, and you spoke of paving, and I guess what would be a segue into it is that I presume that the stormwater drainage project is done.
Yes.
Okay. If there's no more drainage to be excavated or,
So, okay, so when the road's gonna get repaired?
Yes, sir.
So basically, right now, we're waiting for the DEC to come up with a conclusion of what's going to ultimately happen with the dam. We've been we've been waiting for this. We sent them our dam study report, now, the end of last year. So we're still waiting to hear what's going to be the end
I got a
result.
problem with breaching that dam and.
No, well, I'm just telling you, we still haven't come to a conclusion what's gonna happen. Now, if the dam stays, of course, we're gonna try to apply for other grants. As you know, that water filtration project only filtered, I believe, 28% of the water. So obviously, we'd like to get another one and make it 56%. So withstanding that, the highway superintendent did discuss possibly when these roads can, or some of the roads can start being repaired, but I don't think we have a definite date yet.
No definite
Okay. If I may address two specific areas, is that being at or near 817 East Hillside Road, where I don't like to mention specific properties, but there's a dip
Maybe
in
you
the
could
road
speak
that-
to the highway superintendent then specifically afterwards.
Okay,
Yeah.
there's two really intense dips at the base on South Hillside Road at the base of about Second Road. There was a new, it's not a basin, I think it's some sort of a manhole cover that was put there.
Second Road?
Second Road, yeah. The dip there is like ridiculous. And then I don't want to mention the property specific, but there's another one, it's got orange paint on it right now, demarked as 360, number 360. Are you familiar with that?
We can talk after if you want.
Okay, all right.
If you want to give me specifics.
Sure.
Sure.
Will do. Thanks, Kenny. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think the town is slated to be in receipt of about $3 million of COVID-19 relief money. Is that?
3.4-ish.
Okay. Is that earmarked for anything specifically?
No, right now, if you listen to my comments, right now, we're going to look at how much we can use of that towards loss of revenue. Okay, there's a formula, a very specific formula, that we have to input some of our revenue that we had in 2020, our rate of growth that we have. It's a very complicated formula. Our comptroller is reviewing that right now. Once we find out what those dollars are, those loss of revenue dollars go directly into the general fund, and we can use that for anything.
Okay.
The rest of the money, the remainder, we can use them for water sewer projects or IT infrastructure. So it's very specific, and we have to be very careful on how we spend it and document everything. There will be a full audit. So we are, as you probably know, you watch the meetings, you follow, we did get 2 PFOA hits in 2 of our public wells recently, which is a big issue. So possibly we're looking into active carbon filtration, which is very expensive, tune of $1 million-ish or so, maybe more, and also possibly putting some of that money towards older water districts that are smaller and very old, and the repairs are exceeding all the dollars that are going into that district. So we're trying to facilitate some help for that as well.
So those would be criteria that would facilitate the requirements for the COVID-19 relief? Or
Yes.
is that in the general fund?
No, the dollars for revenue, that were loss of revenue, go general fund. I could pretty much use that for almost anything. Not anything, almost
Well, there's a
anything.
reason specifically, I think you could probably imagine why, is it's a district, and we've gone down the path of district obligations and finances in the past for many years, and that is why I think you can connect the 2 dots that I'm referring to.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll be spending that in Hillside Lake. I cannot guarantee
I'm
it.
just-
There's no water
just,
infrastructure.
There's no water
Drinking
infrastructure
water or
there as well.
Okay. Lily pad treatment, I think there was some controversy, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
so
not-
just so everybody knows, it's a very safe treatment. It's safe to drink,
Good, I'm
it's
happy
safe
to
for
hear that.
animals, okay.
We need more.
Yeah, okay, well, this is our first year, okay, so I think gauging upon this gentleman who does this program for us, he does Emmendine, is very successful, and this is large.
It still looks
Hillside
ugly.
Lake's
It
large.
still looks ugly.
Huh?
It still looks ugly.
Yeah, well, we're trying, we're trying, obviously, we're
Okay.
trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And then, in the same vein of ugliness is the project that is complete. It looks like weeds. Somebody should go in there with a weed whacker.
Okay, no problem.
It doesn't look like indigenous plants.
We'll
or
get somebody in there, no problem.
And I think that's it. Oh, on the DEC comment that you made, you're waiting for their issue.
Oh, I see.
It's my impression, and I was there on site with some of the town representation, thank you. And I very personally had said to DEC representatives that were there on site, they want to make it a swamp. I don't want it to be a swamp.
I hear you.
Okay.
I hear you.
One last note. The piping that is exposed in that filtration system, I'm quite concerned that once upon a time, when we had the valve that had an SDR pipe for access into it where the shed was, that became congested with vandalism and rocks and things that were tossed down it. I'm concerned that some of the exposed piping there may...
piping was capped.
Oh, it was, okay, good, all right. I'm done, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anybody wish to speak on anything on the agenda?
Nick, would you like to do the hiring of the officer? I could
I
certainly
gotta
wait.
close the
I could wait.
comment period.
Okay, then I'll make it real quick, all right?
Because once it's closed, that's it.
Okay, well, all right, listen, well, then blame it on Nick. I was willing to give it up. I'm here to complain about speeding.
Chief of Police,
Ruining-
right here.
No, listen, it's ruining, to me, it's ruining our peace and tranquility around here.
Did you talk to the potential new officer?
Well, I'm glad, I'm really glad, and maybe, I'm really asking if they could maybe have a campaign on the speeding. These mufflers, it's all day, all night long. I really think that it's not a trivial thing. I really think it's something that needs to be honed in on, because for those people that don't experience this, that's one thing. But if you live anywhere where you have traffic and you hear these mufflers all day,
Especially you live on the county road there.
yeah, but I gotta say, I had an opportunity to be down near the Sons of Italy. I'm really fortunate that I am where I am, because I get a little bit compared to what they get down there on 376.
So you know what I'll do, Bob? When we're done, I'll give you the county executive's cell phone number. You call him and you tell him about that.
Well, you know what listen, I called the sheriffs and I called the state troopers, and the feeling I got is that they don't want to step on anybody's toes, but I really think this is a very important topic, and I really hope that East Fishkill Police could make a campaign on the speeding and the mufflers, because, again, I think that there's a lot of people that would agree with me.
Chief,
It's
are we
ruining-
writing any
it's
tickets for
ruin-
speeding?
you taking
Because I get
notes,
a lot
Chief?
of complaints, Chief.
It's ruining-
All different areas of town. I think
All
we
right,
have to
you-
bring in all the police officers and have a chat with them about
I
ticket
said
writing.
enough. I think you got the point. Thank you. I want to let these guys sit down. All right. I know you got the point.
Chief is in hot water now, I'll tell you that, Bob.
No, it's got nothing to do with him.
No, it doesn't?
He does a great job. We get what we need. We have another officer. Maybe they could designate this officer.
Anyone else wish to speak on any general town issues? Okay, with that, we have receipt and file, our 2019 annual budget, audit report came in. Everybody has received that, the town board has received that, correct? So, thank you. Madam Clerk, you have a copy of that for the record, for the clerk's office, thank you. Okay, resolutions. Councilman Franco, Resolution 1.
Okay, I move we appoint Carl Vollmer as a police officer.
Do I have a motion?
So move. That was the motion.
Oh, there you go, I'm sorry. I'm lost now.
I'll second it, though.
There
How
you
about
go,
that?
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Congratulations.
You know where Hillside Lake is? Yes, I do. Okay, go over there, we're gonna generate revenue. Bobby Grasso Ticket Fund.
Congratulations, young man, good luck. So I had to hurry up in case someone else went up to speak, so tonight we hired a new police officer. We did have a police officer did leave us recently for another position in another town, so congratulations and best of luck.
With the town board's permission, may I issue his shield number tonight?
Absolutely, chief, absolutely.
Real quick.
Pictures, get the pictures.
Get him a stool.
Okay. Number 2, Councilman Marinaro.
I move, we award the highway bids for material and supplies to the lower bidder for each item.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second? Second. Discussion. So these highway bids, Highway Superintendent, you want to give a little background? We do this every year.
Yeah, we do it usually every year or every 2 years, and this is for our item 4, our sand, materials we use on a daily basis.
Fertilizer, the
Yes,
mix,
gravel, stone, stuff like that.
bid mowers.
Yep.
How about when you have to use equipment, right? That's all on here?
Yes. Yeah, there's-
Excavators, backhoes,
Yes.
bulldozers, okay,
Correct.
very good.
Pretty standard.
Okay, any questions from the board, any comments? We do this every 2 years, as you know. I have a motion, and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you.
Jeez.
Number 3, Councilman Franco.
I move we authorize 2 police officers to attend a Child Passenger Safety Technical Conference in Saratoga Springs on September 8th to September the 10th.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, please. Unfortunately, we have to change that to one officer
Oh,
attending the conference.
okay, who's not going?
Officer Mulaney has some personal issues he has to be around.
So,
So
Montagna
just
will be
Officer
going
Montagna will
solo.
be attending.
Okay. So, amend the resolution to 1 police officer attend the training from September 8 to 10. Okay, Madam Clerk?
Got it.
Hold on, Madam Clerk. Go ahead.
I want to have
What'd you say, Madam Clerk?
Who's going?
Officer Montagna.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. Any other comments, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number 4, Councilman Cassidy.
I move that the town consent to the formation of the Hudson Valley Research Waterworks Corporation.
Do I have a second?
So moved?
Discussion? We had a public hearing about this, town attorney?
Yes, this is,
Basically just gives the consent of the order that.
Correct.
The district we just passed.
correct.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution approved, thank you. Okay, number 5, Councilman Beepan.
I move we authorize the recreation director to hire lifeguards and camp counselors to fill vacancies.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. So we did authorize in past board meetings our camp and our Red Wing Camp directors and camp counselors, lifeguards/lifeguards. So this is in case we do need more. Our camp does overlap at the end of the season where some people do leave for school. So sometimes at the discretion of the camp director, we allow to additional hirings, so. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Okay, number 6, Councilman Franco.
I move we set a public hearing for September 23rd, 2021 at 7 PM to consider a local law restricting new construction in floodplains.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Town engineer, can you discuss how the floodplain issue, and obviously we'll go into very detailed length in the public hearing, but just why we're looking to do this?
Yes, so we administer floodplains, development permits. In some cases, people just want to put a swimming pool or a shed, and, the house happens to fall in a floodplain, or the backyard falls in a floodplain. And we try to work through those permits, understanding the hardship those people fall within. But, more and more, as land becomes more and more scarce, we're getting people that want to, develop in an actual floodplain, brand-new construction. And while there are provisions that allow for that, like currently, we don't have public hearings for that, to allow the neighbors to maybe speak up so they can, testify to what they've seen in terms of flooding, because, we don't have all that information. So one point would be to, allow, a new construction permit to, have to have a public hearing either through the zoning board or the planning board, so we can vet out, all the issues and the concerns the neighbors may have. you know, because many cases, those flood areas are maybe a holding area for floodwaters in that community. So that would be one aspect of it. But again, we're seeing more and more people come in trying to develop these flood areas that maybe they're buying at tax sales for a low price, and now they want to bring out a bunch of fill and, you know, build up the house, and I think we need to get a little tighter control on it.
Yeah, it's become actually problematic because there's not all the quote-unquote good property in town's already developed, so people try to come in and develop these undesirable pieces, and we have a big problem with flooding. That's our number one hazard, actually, in the whole state, is flooding. So we spend more on mitigation on flooding than anything else in New York State. So we are actively working with FEMA to buy properties that are in these floodplains, and these property owners can't sell them. It's a horrible situation. So we don't want to get into these situations anymore, where then eventually the floodplain increases over the years, and now this home that they filled in the property, now this poor soul who put his life savings into a house, now it's worth nothing. I don't think that's very fair, so.
Or they impact the neighbors.
Or impact the neighbor, exactly. So I think we have to have, like the engineer said, tighter controls. This is just setting the date for the public hearing, and we will go into great length on September 23rd for the public hearing, so. Any other comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passed, thank you. Number 7, Councilman Marinaro?
I move we set a public hearing for August 26, 2021.
Okay, do I have a second? Oh, go ahead.
Is that 7 PM to set road frontage assessments for the Route 52 Palin Road and Phillips Road traffic improvement area.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? So, as I discussed earlier, we have a traffic mitigation plan for Route 52, and that will include, and I said that in my comments, that Amazon is contributing the lion's share to this project for a bypass road, the roundabout, and a school drop-off for the school to help mitigate their drop-off issues in the morning. It's going to be wonderful. And this will also add other properties along that route to help contribute towards the cost of that, which is large parcels like Global Foundries, the Dome site, iPark, that housing development, no, the apartments project, and one other, I believe. So these are large projects that will help contribute, pay their fair share towards this traffic mitigation.
And Supervisor, you might note that Amazon already made a partial payment of $925,000, which we just received.
Yeah, we just received it. I just received the check, $925,000 towards this traffic mitigation plan, which is going to help out tremendously, so.
I might add, in addition, they're going to completely reconstruct Auditorium Drive, which will facilitate the bypass road.
The new town bypass road.
In addition to that $925,000.
Yeah, right, that cost, that 925 goes directly towards our improvement for the roundabout and the drop-off for the school. The rest of the money for the school, for the new town bypass road, they're paying for the complete remediation of that road, correct?
Correct. Full depth reconstruction.
So that's wonderful, and hats off to the engineer for that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number 8, the Deputy Supervisor.
I move we declare certain town personal property as surplus and authorize its disposition by absolute auctions.
Sure, do I have a second? Second. Discussion. So these are older vehicles from the police force that we are going to be going to auction. There was that 2013 Ford Taurus that the chief of police beat to heck. It's got 160,000 miles, and I don't think, didn't the wheels come off of it or something, chief?
Actually, our highway superintendent and his staff extended the life of all of my vehicles by at least 1 year, saving the town a ton of money.
We try.
That's why he gets stuff every month and you get nothing.
Well, I won't say, but I implemented that program, sorry, chief. Okay, I have a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number 9, Councilman Bupan.
I move we authorize a study of the Beacon Water District water supply.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Town engineer, you want to give a little brief overview about your memo?
Yes, so, as we know, we have 14 water systems, many of which are on sole source supply with wells. Recently, we have had issues at the Hamlet and Worley Homes with the new contaminant PFA and PFS. We have had to turn off 4 wells at the Hamlet. We're working on doing emergency connection for Worley Homes. Four Corners, currently, we have a water supply concern at Four Corners right now, trying to get a well reestablished, and we're in the process of drilling a new well. No guarantee that new well is going to come online. So, with all our water systems, as a backup plan, we've talked about this, so we need to try to establish a more regional source. And Beekman Water District falls strategically in an area where it can supply, systems on both sides of the parkway. It seems to be located on a very large aquifer. And if we can, develop those wells and maybe get 1 million or 1.5 million gallons a day, it's an easy connection to Hopewell North, which then can bring water to the Hamlet. We have a sleeve across the parkway that could get us over to Four Corners. So rather than to wait for there to be a problem in the future that we have to try to react to, because we all know it takes time to fix water problems. It's not like flipping a switch. Right. We have State Department approval, Health Department approvals, County Health Department approvals. There's a lot of things to line up to address a water situation. So my thought is the first thing to do is see how much water we could actually get from Beekman, do a thorough study on that as the first step to see, could that potentially be a regional supply, and then the next steps would be to see, infrastructure-wise, what those costs would be and how they would be paid for. So it's looking to the future. We don't have that maybe an immediate problem today, but we're always just, a test away from having a problem, as we found at the Hamlet,
Well, I agree, and with the regulations only getting stricter from New York State, as we see with the PFOS situation, we got to be prepared. We have to be proactive. We got to make sure we protect our drinking water for our community. Very important.
Scott, what is that aquifer, more or less?
I'm sorry?
The aquifer that you're referring to, where is that at exactly?
Under Beekman Country Club.
Under Beekman Country Club.
So those are the 20 acres that the town has,
No, it's hundreds of acres large.
There's hundreds of acres, the golf course, but we have a couple of acres
Right.
of what that system that our well field is on.
right, okay.
And there are artesian wells, and the way the hydrogeologists speak, it's really an amazing aquifer with a tremendous amount of water, but
They say it's an ocean of water.
ocean of water.
Wow, that's great.
So we will see. We will see. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number 10, Councilman Marinaro.
I move we accept the hirings by Highway Superintendent of seasonal laborers.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Highway Superintendent, you have a memo here.
Yes. These are mainly for our recreation department.
Okay, all of them?
Yes.
I mean, for us, more the better. We love to hire
Absolutely.
seasonals.
We've been looking, you guys know, we've been
Yeah.
asking for help, and we have interviewed and background checked and drug tested, and these are.
And please, anybody, if you're a teenager, you need a job, we need seasonals for the recreation department. They're cutting grass, they're outside, they're cleaning up the parks. We need part-time workers. Please send your kids, get them out of your hair, give them jobs, please.
18 with a valid driver's license.
18 with a valid driver's license, please.
These are part-time seasonals for us. yeah.
Part-time seasonal. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Councilman Marinaro, 11-2.
I move we confirm the appointment of Justin Krabowski as senior mechanic in the Highway Department.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion? Highway Superintendent, again.
So you know that our mechanic Keith Servac of 34 years has retired, and we have moved Justin, who has been working about 6 years under Keith, up to a senior mechanic. He's well worth it, he deserves it.
Excellent. Yes, like I mentioned in my comments, we attended the retirement party.
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor Cassidy had about 12 hot dogs. Do I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'm only joking.
I wasn't even there.
Yeah, okay. Number 12, Councilman Beepan.
I move we set a public hearing for July 22nd, 2021 at 7 PM to consider a local law setting rules and regulations with respect to recreational property.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. So, this has to deal with our ongoing issues in the park. We are trying to get rid of the quote-unquote bad ones that go to the park and cause a lot of trouble for all the youth, the coaches, parents. It's actually terrible.
It is.
Okay, so unfortunately, by law, we have no mechanism really to get rid of them unless we have rules and procedures authorized by the town board. We have to have a public hearing, and this is part one of the process, so. Any other comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. 13, Deputy Supervisor.
I move we award the Auditorium Drive Sewer Extension Project to B&K Excavating, Inc.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this? This is the extension of the sewer for the Amazon project. They have paid, so how much, they paid, you want to explain, would the engineer please explain how the contribution or the new project paid for this?
Yes, so there is a connection fee, I don't know the exact number, I think it was 411.
28,000, something like that.
428,000 as a connection fee, and in addition to that, they're contributing an additional 200, and I think it's 59,000 for this extension, so. So all in, they're almost 700,000 they're contributing.
Just
so,
for the sewer?
Just for the sewer.
And do all in favor say aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. 14. Councilman Franco.
I move we award the bid for resurfacing of certain roads in Hopewell North Water District to Intercounty Paving Company.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion on this? So, like I mentioned before in my comments, this was a sticky situation because we've been dealing with the EPA, the Army Corps of Engineers, and Conti Construction, which is the federal contractor on this job, and they had a duty to repave, refix the roads that they altered to put the new water district in, all the piping, all the lines, and when it came to our attention, how much they had to budgeted for those fixing of the roads, my engineer took a good hard look at that and said, well, why don't we do it? Because for the amount of money that they're paving to do half the road, we could get the full road paved. So, we did look at that. We did have a little arm wrestling fight with the EPA, but in the end, we won. And they did give us the $900,000 to do these roads, and which will get a much better job. We're actually reclamating two of the bigger roads. We're doing repaving on fully repaving most of all the roads. No, all of them, right?
Most of the roads, they'll be paving on all. There's a few roads we'll just do half, but most of them are going to get full. Yeah.
So we're getting way more bang for our buck than the EPA would, so I'm happy about that. But, like I mentioned in my comments, we are at a crossroads there are problems in that new water district. There's leaks, there's been plugs found in the lines, and the EPA and the contractor are looking into this, doing a forensic evaluation, but still the issue is do we pave the roads, and what happens if they have to do a large fix and they have to cut the roads up again? So, or we could possibly lose this funding because EPA federally funded cycles are not guaranteed. So we're at the point where the town board, I spoke to each one of them separately and we discussed this, and we need to fix the roads. The residents, they've had enough. The roads are terrible. It's like, some of the roads, it's like a war zone. So we're going to award the bid, and we'll see what the forensic evaluation comes with, what the ultimate fix will be for the Hopewell North Water District issues, and we'll just have to go from there. And if we have to fight the federal government more, then we'll have to do that, so.
I'd also like to add that, by postponing it, we run a risk of escalation. If asphalt or trucking or fuel prices go up, we have a fixed price. So, right now, we can do a substantial amount of work, but if we delay this, it may decrease. Who knows what the future's gonna bring as far as prices. Also, on the roads that we want to do the major rehabs, ideally we do it while school's out, so we don't have that traffic while we do this work, so.
Scott, are we reclaiming Creamery?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
And Dogwood, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
Dogwood, Joanne, and Oak Ridge.
So that was that we had done on Brown Road, where we had that long
Yeah.
train, they dig up the road, re-put it down, and then they put a new fresh top coat on top. So it's basically it's a brand-new road.
Right.
from
For
top
those
to
more
bottom.
heavily traveled roads, yes.
And those are big feeder roads, so
Yes.
it's much better product. Any other comments or questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number 15, Councilman Beepan.
I move we authorize filming at Redwood Park on July 6th to July 8th and set fees.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. So as I mentioned earlier in my comments, we'll be closing Red Wing Park July 6th, 7th, and 8th. They'll be doing a new comedy series there. And they are giving us a nice donation, $5,000 a day, so which we'll put towards all recreation, which is very nice. But we are closing our park for 3 days, but.
Unfortunately, it's not for the 4th of July.
Yes, absolutely. They asked for the day after, and I said not the day after either, because a lot of people are off the day after, so. Okay, any other comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number 16, Deputy Supervisor.
I move we authorize an agreement with IntelliPay for credit card services.
Okay. Do I have a second? Discussion? So we are looking to modernize some things here in Town Hall, looking for this new credit card company with this IntelliPay. They gave us a presentation. Basically, that will transform all our departments to accept credit cards. Also, they'll build a whole infrastructure for people to pay online, pay their water and sewer bills, even pay your taxes. So it's no cost to the town. There are fees, obviously, to use that for the user, but not for us. And they will build a kiosk out here also, so that you could access your water bill. It's actually really something. It's going to be nice. Any other comment or question?
Can they use this, like, if they want to get insurance from the clerk's office?
Yeah, that too. Clerk's office, building department. We want everything to be. Yeah.
Pay court fees.
Court fees, absolutely. Yeah, but this will be all integrated. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. 17, Councilman Franco.
I move we acknowledge hiring Thomas Walker as a part-time construction equipment operator by the highway superintendent.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Highway Superintendent,
Well,
Tom Walker, you want him
yes.
back?
He's coming back
retired.
part-time to do some specific jobs that we need, because we are shorthanded at the time.
We are shorthanded, like I said, please, any part-timers come forward.
Right.
We're looking for you. We'll hire you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. 18, Councilman Marinaro?
I move we acknowledge hiring of William McGee as part-time laborer by the highway superintendent.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Same situation here. So,
Actually, he's looking to come back mainly for snow plowing, so.
snow
With all
plow.
his experience, I will take him back. He is up on Miller Hill Road.
I'm sure you will. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. I do have one from the floor. Town of East Fishkill engineer has identified a need for a full-time junior civil engineer. Our human resource director has looked for candidates that meet the minimum qualifications for the position. Our town board has interviewed this gentleman, and he is recommended by our town engineer. So I do hereby appoint Raymond Hickey to the position of junior civil engineer, annual salary $60,000. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Second. Discussion? Does the town engineer want to give a little review of how we got to this point? We lost an employee we just hired, and
Sure. So in our water sewer department, our clerical assistant, I guess you would say, we've been through a couple of those, okay? And the last person who left us in a void. And I talked to the comptroller in terms of, what that position paid, and the limitations of that position and what we really needed. And we looked at it, and, for a few dollars more, maybe more than a few dollars more, but not substantially amount more money, we could actually get a junior civil engineer, and that person could do a lot more than what that clerk could do. Not only can do, modeling of our systems, which we do outside, can do inspections, which we outsource outside. There's a lot of work that we outsource outside that, we're having trouble because everybody's so busy getting it in a timely fashion. So I think by bringing a person in of that caliber, it allows us to do a lot more work inside. And also, with our floodplain development, with the Amazon project, there's a lot of things going on in the town right now on the civil end.
we are very busy. that's
We
for sure.
are very busy, and there's always new things, and we're really chasing a lot of these problems right now. So I'm very pleased that we're able to find, this person with this experience and education, so, especially in this market.
Yeah, and funny how we interviewed this young man, a very bright young man, and we were discussing he's getting his MBA right now in civil.
Master's in civil
Oh, I'm sorry,
engineering.
master's, right. I'm sorry, excuse me. In civil engineering, and he's doing his thesis paper on PFOA and PFOS removal. How, it's funny how God works. God is good, that's for sure. So, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's a good agenda. Nice agenda there, Madam Clerk. A lot of things to do. We're a busy town, God bless, right?
We are, yes, we are.
Okay. Budget transfer, we will hold off. Town board member comments. Let's start with our highway superintendent over there.
Okay, so we've completed all of our major drainage on Dale Road, and we are just about ready for paving. Once 52 project is just about done, the plant will be opened up again, so we can go back to work with our paving of our roads. Foster Road has been complete. Duran, Rusk, and Larchmont also complete, paved and backfilled, seeded and strawed. Our docks are all in and complete, Red Wing Park and Medine Pond. We've also been having our jet vac truck out just about every day it's not raining, cleaning out our catch basins and our pipes, keeping them open. And also, we are ready to pave Deerwood, Tamarack, and Forest View. So we've been keeping pretty busy. And Nick, you spoke about the retirement party and our retirees, so I'll keep it short and sweet. It's been a long night.
Yes, it has. Oh, the police chief. The police chief is here. We gonna discuss all the speeding issues in town, chief, or what? Just,
We'll get to Bobby Grasso.
what about the other 5 locations I talked to you this week about, chief?
That's why we haven't gotten to Bobby Grasso. So my first comment is on your new employee assistance group. That new system actually has items that will pertain specifically to first responders in need with special services.
Wait, what well, I'm sorry, I missed the first
The
one. What's
employee
this?
assistance group?
Oh, yes.
So there is additional features in there that will benefit first responders, major components. So that was a big move for the town, for my department. I thank you for that.
You're welcome, chief. It was easy to do it.
So we've had 1,800 calls of service since our last meeting, another 66 offenses and 25 arrests. With regards to those arrests, my detectives have been busy. They locked up a Hopewell man for failure to register as a sex offender. That individual has been sent back to jail, and we do not foresee it being a safety issue for the general public. On an unrelated matter, but however, and a sexual assault for rape in the third individual, a Hopewell individual resident was arrested, charged, and sent to jail. Again, another case that my detectives were handling and were able to successfully close. With regards to my patrol officers, Officers Chaparino and Officers Nichols responded to an opioid overdose, and the patient actually crashed right in front of my officers. They quickly administered several doses of Narcan and saved the victim's life.
Wow.
With regards to Mr. Grasso and the specific area he's talking about, we did spend some time there last year. Currently, we are doing some enforcement in some other areas. We do have a supervisor has been recently assigned to handle these numerous vehicle and traffic law complaints. Well, basically what we'll do is we will assign the entire squad to do selective enforcement in a specific area. Normally, we will run that detail for about a week and then move on to the next item on the list. Mr. Grasso did bring that to my attention about 2 weeks ago. We just are handling other ones. As you know, we spoke about a couple specific areas, Miller Hill, and commercial vehicles that are over the weight limit. So we will be enforcing that. So again, I would ask the major trucking, the super large dump trucks to stay off of Miller Hill Road. And there is now a law with a weight limit of 5,000.
5 tons.
5 tons.
So if you have a full-size dump truck and you're gonna have your guys drive down Miller Hill, there will be some expensive traffic summonses issues. So I would suggest you stay on the main commercial roadway so you can avoid that. I want to see our local business owners be successful and not have those burdens on them as well. DWI arrests have doubled in the last few months. We've had another arrest where an individual assaulted 2 senior citizens, assault in second, assault in third, put both those individuals in the hospital. That has been closed out, and that individual has been sent to jail. And again, no issue of danger to the public with regards to that incident. COVID has not been an issue now for 3 months. We've been monitoring them, and it's no longer, my guys are not coming into contact with it at all. Not to say it's gone, but we have, at this point, it's no longer an issue. Beekman Road and Clove Branch Road, Carpenter Road intersection. The film crew company may be doing a short filming at that location on the 6th and 7th. It will either be the 6th or the 7th for 3 hours. So there will be intermittent closures at that intersection. I would ask people, if you're coming into Hopewell from Beekman, to use an alternative road between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. You'll
Make
save
sure we
yourself.
post that, right, chief?
I'm waiting for confirmation. I should have that tomorrow. Three new vehicles are in service. Those 4 old vehicles, we did actually extend the life on those 4 vehicles we took out of service by about a year, thanks to the highway highway guys have done a fantastic job. They saved us a ton of money. As you know, a big part of what was saved last month was due to the highway department servicing our vehicles. We had a problem with entrance and exit from our parking lot at the police department, and also a problem with entrance and exit to the new tax office. What was happening is the way the roadway was set up, all the vehicles were bottoming out as they would come or leave the police department or the tax office. So my staff actually set up a small meeting with the engineers doing the road work, and they adjusted their resurfacing to address that problem, so we no longer have that issue, which actually took out an exhaust and two front end on police vehicles. So, thank you to New York State engineers. They did a quick fix, and that is no longer an issue. New projects, we just started working on our budget for next year with some major equipment issues such as body-worn cameras and new software for the police department. Those are just getting underway. And that's it for
Oh,
today.
thank God. Oh, I mean, thank you, Chief. Councilman Beepam.
Well, I want to wish everyone, because we didn't have a meeting last time, a happy Father's Day, especially everyone here on the board. I hope you all had a phenomenal weekend. As always, a huge shout out to our emergency services, our fire department, police department, EMS. They're second to none. Thank you to Kenny and his guys for everything you've been doing for recreation. We would not be able to get any of it done without you, so we really appreciate it. Especially jumping on those nets the other day.
I will be down in Wikipedia tomorrow morning.
Perfect.
Look at that other issues down there that she was talking
Thank you.
about.
I just want to wish everyone a very safe, happy, and relaxing Independence Day, and let's just remember what the weekend stands for. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Franco.
Thank you to the highway superintendent and our chief. You guys do a fantastic job. I want to give a big shout out to Deputy Supervisor Pete Cassidy for his annual Backyard Olympics fundraiser. He has this thing every year. It's phenomenal. He raises a ton of money for law enforcement, for fire, for the honor flight. And how many wheelchairs do you get donated? Have you donated?
About 300.
300 wheelchairs donated. Fantastic job. It's a great event every year.
Absolutely.
With things coming back to normal now, I would hope that we see more and more people out, and particularly into visiting our small businesses here in town, and particularly our restaurants. The other night, I tried to get into a couple of restaurants, and they were packed, and I love to see it, and it's worth the wait. But, you know, let's get everybody out there. Those restaurant owners, they went through hell, and some of them are still trying to survive. And it'd be great if we go out there and we support our small business community and all of our fine restaurants that we have here in town. And come on out, come to the parks, go to the rec, go to Red Wing, just not on the days we're not supposed to.
6, 7, and 8. Councilman Marinaro.
So first of all, I want to say that I almost every other day, I speak to the highway superintendent. We go over a lot of stuff, so we keep in touch and we keep each other's update on what's going on with the department and with the roads in our town. I want to congratulate two people in our community, Carrie Cahill and John Morgan, for their election as Board of Trustees for the Wappinger School District. Right now, we have 3 members of our community on that board. It's very important. And last week, I and a couple other people met with Mr. Morgan. We basically discussed some issues with Wappinger School District. My main concern at that meeting was to address spending and the high cost of education, and to see if we could find ways to reduce the tax burden to the community. Mr. Morgan is a number gentleman, he's a number guy, he's very good with that stuff, and it's important to have a dialogue with these people. I will be going to their meetings, I made sure he's aware of that, and bring our concerns from the town of East Fishkill residents to the Wappinger School District trustees. Also, yesterday afternoon, I also, with a couple other people, had a meeting with superintendent of a school, Dr. Bonk. He's a great gentleman. Every time his name is mentioned in the community, people have great hopes that it will bring changes to the Wappinger School District, not only with the education of our kids, but also we spoke because he will be in charge of the budget. And again, my pitch was to reduce the cost to the taxpayers. As we all know, we usually collect the taxes. We are blamed for the high taxes in our community, but 78% of whatever we collect, we usually directly send it to the schools. Their budget this year is about $255 million. We have heard in the past the board trustees address cost, and they usually say their hands are tied, that there is nothing that they could do. I think that there is a lot that they could do. And Dr. Bonk agreed. There is funding from the state, but it's funny because when I attend those meetings, budgeting discussion, nobody really presents how many millions the state participate. They have an idea, but nobody could pinpoint. And to me, that's a little bit of a problem. I have a feeling that out of the $255 million, there's probably about $30 million that we get from the state. But the state has a lot of influence on the school with their mandates. So it was very important to have this discussion. I think we might be able to start seeing a change at the school board of trustees, and it's something that I've worked on for quite a few years. Probably even before I became a councilman over here, I used to address these issues. It's important to continue that because, like Councilman Franco mentioned before, this is a big issue with our seniors in our community. They are living on a set salary, and they have other priorities, including buying medications. And, you know, the school tax bill comes due, and they really have no choice. And many times, they don't even have kids in the school anymore. There is another issue that I spoke to the highway superintendent about, and it's an issue in certain neighborhoods. We see there is some people that are abusing their liberties, but they are disturbing other people in the community. We're going to be looking into this. I addressed it also with the police department. I think we all need to live in an harmonious way in our town. If it happens once in a while, it's okay. But if sometimes things happen on a everyday manner where noise is caused in certain neighborhoods by certain people, it is not fair and it's not right, and we will address that. So please, everybody out there, let's cooperate and let's live in a great community. Nobody wants somebody on a Sunday morning riding a scooter with a high-pitched volume. So we will be looking into that, I could assure, and make sure that everybody stays in a safe way in our community.
Thank you, Councilman. And I agree. I used to live near the highway superintendent. He's very noisy.
Loud, high-pitched.
Well, he is, but you're up.
Just real quick, just like to say congratulations to all the high school seniors that finished this year. Hope everyone has a safe, enjoyable summer, and we've been here long enough. I make a motion, we adjourn.
Before that, just a very happy 4th of July to everybody. Please be safe and enjoy yourselves.
Absolutely.
And with that, do I have a motion to adjourn? Do I have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.